Spare. Harry's Wife edition. Pray. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing my analysis of Spare and getting into the meaty stuff because the spider has entered the arena. Yes, Harry's wife, or perhaps at this juncture more accurately, Harry's wife-to-be, has made her appearance in more ways than one. We continue with the analysis following the first date that the two have had. Harry's wife scarpered, her narcissism telling her that he was coming nicely under control and therefore that it was appropriate for her to assert control by withdrawal and having him wanting more. Harry's addiction to narcissism meant that his own emotional thinking had increased so that he was there salivating like a horny little ginger bastard, wanting more of her. He explained that he'd made plans to meet his mate afterwards, and he now phoned this person and said that he was on his way. Apparently his friend looked at him and said, "What on earth's happened?" Harry didn't want to say, but he did, and recounted the entire date in detail. Apparently this precipitated the presentation of tequila and weed, and then they watched Inside Out. Apparently it was an animated movie about emotions. Harry says he was then peacefully numb. It was good weed, dude. And the phone rang, and it was Harry's wife. Another Hoover taking place already, just after the date. She was FaceTiming. The conversation went like this. "Hello, hello. What are you up to?" asked Harry's wife. I'm with my mate." "What's that in the background?" "Oh, are you watching cartoons?" Notice the cross-examination that's taking place here, the nosy nature of asking what's going on. "No, I mean, yeah, kinda, it's Inside Out." She then, he moves to a quiet part of the flat and notes that she's washed her face. He says, "God, I love your freckles." She then comments about the fact that they airbrushed out her freckles. Again, I don't believe this exchange took place, but if you recall that Harry's wife has in the past, she's banged on about the airbrushing out of her freckles, and so she's wanted this to be woven into the book, and therefore has ensured that that has taken place. Harry apparently says, "That's insane. They're beautiful." Yeah, right. Like you go around analysing freckles. I should imagine the only freckles that Harry's been interested in is the game of Freckles. Look it up if you don't know what that is. Apparently she said she was sorry she had to go. She didn't want him to think that she didn't enjoy meeting him. So some flattery and follow-up Hoover here, of course. And he asked to see her again, demonstrating that he's coming up nicely under control, and suggested meeting on Tuesday. She said she was going, so therefore he suggested, what about tomorrow? All of his responses give her fuel and of course demonstrate his desperation to see her, signals to her subconsciously that he's coming nicely under control. So they set another date to meet up at Soho House. Apparently the next day she was at Wimbledon cheering on Serena Williams from Serena's box. She then hoovered him again by texting him after the final set as she went back to her hotel, and then texted again as she was getting changed, and then hoovered him again as she was heading to Soho House. This time, Harry had got his act together, and he was already waiting. He describes what she's wearing, and then said that he's got gifts. He opened the box, and he'd provided cupcakes for her, red, white, and blue cupcakes in honour of Independence Day. She said that they were amazing. Their waitress from date one appeared again, and apparently she was genuinely happy to see them. I suspect that she wasn't. How would they know that it was genuine? It's a little bit like going for a lap dance, isn't it? Lap dancer isn't going to go, "Oh, fucking hell, not you again." They're going to whisper sweet nothings in your ear and cavort around you like you're the sexiest individual on the planet. Come on, Harry, wake up. Anyway, this shows the grandiosity of Harry's wife, and again demonstrates it's not Harry that's writing this, that the book details this about Misha. She could tell what was happening. She got that she was an eyewitness, that she'd forever be part of our personal mythology. You know this is straight out of Harry's wife with the type of thing that she would say, believing that she's so important that a waitress would remember this event forever. She may well be thinking, I kind of recognise him, the one with the ginger hair. He's vaguely familiar. You? No idea who you are. Oh, I'm here all the time. Are you? No, don't ring any bells. That's more likely what went on. Anyway, apparently she went away to bring a round of drinks, and when she returned, they were deep in the middle of a kiss. And it wasn't their first. Ooh, racy. So now Harry has become an intimate partner secondary source and likely to be candidate as she's fast-tracking him towards ensnarement as the intimate partner primary source. Conversation flowed and crackled, apparently. Burgers came and went, and they were uneaten. Maybe he's got his mind on eating a different kind of burger. And then he felt that the first half of his life was coming to a close. Again, nobody but Harry's wife is going to talk in such nonsensical, grandiose terms. He's there, probably got a boner as he's snogging her, thinking about when he's going to get tops and so forth. And what? He's really going to be sat there thinking, I felt an overwhelming sense of overture, prelude, kettle drums, act one, and yet also a sense of ending. A phase of my life, the first half, was coming to a close. Bollocks! It's absolute dross, this. It really is. Nevertheless, we know who's behind it. It's, of course, Harry's wife. And then there was a frank discussion, and apparently she asked, what are we going to do? And apparently they said, we have to give this a proper go. And she then asked, well, what does that even mean? I live in Canada. I'm going back tomorrow. He said, well, we'll meet a long visit this summer. She said, my summer's already planned. He said, mine is as well. And then he felt, well, surely we'll be able to find some time together. She shook her head. She was doing the full Eat, Pray, Love, apparently the book. And he said, oh, sorry, not really big on books. At least he's being honest, I suppose. He said that he felt intimidated, that she was the opposite of him. She read and she was cultured. She's not really, Harry. This is just a veneer that she demonstrates to you. She feigns being cultured, but you poke a finger through it and you'll find that there's nothing underneath. It's just a veneer when she's dealing in a one-on-one and a facade to other people. She explained that she was going with 3 girlfriends to Spain and then 2 girlfriends to Italy. And then she said, well, actually, there's a small window. And she talks about how her castmate had advised her not to be so structured, but to keep one window open for magic. So she had, lo and behold, had some time. I imagine that there's loads of gaps in her calendar. And she just, again, has to make it seem like she's ever so popular. And, of course, it's done to cause Harry to think to himself, oh, yes, I want to be involved in all of this. And lo and behold, Harry had a week open as well. Serendipity. And apparently, what if they're the same week? What if? Is it possible? How crazy would that be? Nobody talks to one another like that unless it's in a Hollywood movie, which Harry's wife thinks that she's in. Harry suggests that they spend it in Botswana, birthplace of all humankind, etc. And he explained it was the place where he found himself. And he'd always refound himself. And he felt close to it. And eventually it was decided that that was where they would go. When you read it, you're just left with a clear impression that this is the readings of a 12-year-old girl writing her first romance novel. None of this comes from Harry. This isn't a man talking or writing, but rather it's what Harry's wife has done. Harry's been elbowed out of the way here, and if Meringer's still involved in the project at this juncture, and I'd perhaps be surprised if he was, she's either said, this is what you're going to write, and gives him the notes, and Harry, there in his gimp mask, goes to confirm that apparently he agrees, or more likely, Meringer fucked off, and Harry's wife said, this is what it's going to be from now on. It has her sticky, controlling paw print all over it, and is no surprise whatsoever. Anyway, they're off to Botswana. So let's find out in the next section what happens there. Is it going to be more Mills and Boon? Probably.